Okay, hello Danae, how are you?
Hello, Nika. I'm well, thanks. And how are you?
Oh, good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today, for agreeing to do this interview. And I just want to ask you, may I please have your consent to record this interview only for my academic purposes, not
Yes,
for
yes.
anything? Okay, thank you so. Hey, I'll be asking you a few questions about your business management, how you manage things in your business, in your biokineticist practice, and yeah, so we
Okay.
can get started. So the first question is, what approaches do you use to improve patient satisfaction and encourage patients to remain engaged in their rehabilitation programs?
Okay, so first, then, when you do the initial assessments, you have to set clear goals with your patients, set by them. So it usually helps if they are committed in their own goals and you help them to reach their goals. You have to keep open communication, provide them regular feedback on their journey and where they are. That helps them to come back each session, and then the you have to tailor their programs to their specific needs. So don't make them feel that they are just a number. You have to be specific with them, build a relationship with that specific client.
Yeah, like a personal relationship, make sure they stay motivated, like that they can see they're actually improving, not just doing this to for the
Yes.
fun. Yeah.
If they see week by week that they are improving, then they are more likely to come back the next week.
Yes, yes, of course. Okay, and how do you strategically plan the patient's scheduling and session structures to improve the efficiency and support the growth of your biokineticist practice?
So I use precise appointment scheduling and I plan structured sessions beforehand. So I don't go into the session where I don't know what's going on and wing it. So I know what I'm going to do in the sessions. I am precise. I'm efficient with my time and the patient's time as well. Yes, so I make sure their appointments are booked that in a way that's favorable to them and for me as well.
And do you personalize each program for each individual, or is it like more or
Yes.
less the same program?
No. So, based upon your initial assessment and consultation that you have with the client, you basically go and you draw a map of what's wrong, what are their goals and specific needs, and what you want to achieve. Then you plan a pathway how to get there. So then you tailor a specific program based on their goals, their timelines, and their needs. So your rehabilitation for a rugby player with an ACL tear and for a sedentary person at home also with an ACL tear is going to be drastically different from one another. So you have to tailor that to the client's specific needs.
Specific needs. Okay. And then how do you manage marketing for your practice? Do you use specific platforms to grow your patient bases or yeah.
So, my biggest marketing platform is WhatsApp Business. So, people still need to get your number though to see you on WhatsApp Business, and I do that through Facebook and also groups. So, I would join WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups, and I would place my ads there, and through that, they can get my number and see the services that I offer on my WhatsApp page. So, yeah, mostly my marketing is through WhatsApp groups, and Facebook.
Which one would you say is the best between Facebook and WhatsApp? What has brought the most clients in through the years?
I think Facebook, because it's a bigger marketing strategy. You can get a hold of more potential clients. So you can build it around a community, a Facebook group. You can post it on your timeline. Your friends can share your ads. So I think it just reaches more people than WhatsApp groups would. That's very limited, but on the other side, WhatsApp groups are a little bit more personalized. So you
Oh,
get
yeah.
better client engagement from there, but overall getting the word out there and letting people see your ad is definitely Facebook.
Word of mouth? Has there?
So that's a huge thing in our practice. If you have a good reputation, if you do your job well, your clients will refer you to other people. So
Okay, yeah.
I honestly must say, most of my clients that I have now are referred by previous clients. So that
Okay.
really helps. And then you have automatic reputation set up. So you have witnesses saying that, listen, I did this, I had this problem, this was helped. So then they automatically rely more on you. Yeah.
People like they trust through their friend because they trust their friend, and then they have trust in you as well.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, and how do you maintain long-term relationships with the patients and encourage them to remain engaged in their sessions and rehabilitation programs?
So that's a very good question. That's one of my main goals, is to keep your clients engaged. And I do that not by being professional all the time. I know it sounds weird, and in a business structure, you have to be professional, but I
Yeah.
mainly focus on building a relationship with my client. Get to know them, get to know their families, their stories, listen to what they are saying, not only just around their injury or their problem. You need to build a structured relationship where they can trust you. As soon as you do that, then you can definitely add to the professional side, keep the communication open, monitor their progress closely, tell them every week where they are improving, where work needs to be done, and then adjust their programs to what needs to be done on how to achieve their goals. That keeps them motivated. But the main thing of keeping them engaged is building a relationship with your client.
I also feel like if you make it more personal, they will trust you and tell you more about what's going on, and then you have a better understanding of their injury or whatever to help them better.
Yes, and I'm sure if you've ever seen somebody for an injury that you had, if it was a cold and just professional environment, you're not likely to go back because you don't feel comfortable. So you need to create a space where the client and the patients feel comfortable and feel comfortable to open up to you on a personal level as well.
Yes, yes. Otherwise, you just feel like a number, like you're just the next person going after someone, and they don't really care about you. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your question is, although you currently manages the practice on your or independently, do you how do you go about ensuring that your environment is positive and like motivating? I know you've had someone in the past working for you. How did you ensure that it was a safe environment, a positive work environment for them?
So you try to build a good relationship with them as well. You give them clear responsibilities on what they need to do, so they don't ever wonder or need to tiptoe around you. You always give them guidance without making them feel small or belittling them. So you need to be uplifting and building them and making them confident in their work strategy. So give them regular feedback on their performance, and then teach them how to take care of the clients as well. Because the more established relationships there are between them and their clients as well, the more likely they or to do a better job and take care of your practice. Um, so yes, that's very important. And then I would focus on helping them to not feel that they're working for me, that they're working with me. So yes, so that they feel important. They know that they are adding to your practice. They're not just working for you to get a monthly salary or just get their work done. Helping them to care for their patients, to care for the practice, and to care for the bigger picture and the team. Yes, that's the strategy that I would use.
And I think open communication is also very important that they feel that they can tell you when something is wrong and not like be scared to tell you that you're gonna like fire them or something, that you work together with
Yes.
the same. And then how did you ensure that the staff contributed effectively to your patient care and the daily operations of your practice? How did you,
Um, That's definitely by making or teaching them how to care for the patients, and how to care for your practice, not just seeing it as a work environment. So when it goes well with the practice, it goes well with all of us. If it's going well with the client, it's going well with the trainer as well. So then you feel uplifted, you feel motivated. So the more you are in the thick of it with me, rather than standing on the outside and just performing duties where I tell you to. So that definitely helps to keep them motivated and building my practice as well.
as well? And
Yeah.
then next question, how do you determine the pricing of your biokineticist sessions while balancing operational costs and patient affordability and stay competitive within the market?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So, how I determine my pricing is, firstly, I look at my expenses. So I obviously have the rent of your practice, equipment that you need to buy or rent, everything that you need to do for running costs. So you get those first. And then in your head, you calculate how many clients you need to see. That also motivates you and sets a goal for yourself. But how I determine the pricing of each session is I look usually at Discovery medical aid tariffs. So they are a good baseline to set your prices on. Then you know you are competing in the market as well, and you're not going heavy underpriced or overpriced. So I always make sure I charge around 100% of the Discovery rates. Then you also know you're not being unfair to your clients. So if they want to claim back from medical aid, they can. They're not going to get a letter from the medical aid stating that I charged them 200%. So that's the best way. And then from there, from that baseline, calculate your expenses, calculate how many clients you need to see to cover everything and to build yourself a future as well.
Future as well. Okay, and then what financial systems or strategies do you use to manage cash flow in your biokineticist practice when patients use different methods of paying or different payment schedules? I know some clients prefer to pay at the end of the month, or some prefer pay after each session. How do you manage that?
So in my practice specifically, I clearly communicate to the client on their first session that I will bill all of my clients on the 25th of each month. So then it's when I send my invoices. So I don't encourage them to pay session by session. It negatively influences me as well. And it tends to, if they take out money each session, it tends to demotivate them as well. So one monthly bill is the best standard for me and for my clients. It also helps me to plan my financials for the next month, not using this month's money or the client that just paid me now, not using that money directly and negatively influencing me on the next month where I need that money. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I send all of my invoices on the 25th, and I ask them that the payments are required before the 1st. So it usually gives them a 5 to 6 day leniency period on when to pay. You have to communicate that with your clients beforehand. And yes, it helps with my financial planning and strategizing, and also helps with the clients that they know they can see on each invoice when they did their sessions, what the session prices were, and then you can send that whole statement as one to your medical aid.
Medical aids. And then how do you go about patients who can't pay you now? Can they like arrange like can they arrange to pay later, like by the 10th of the month, or if they have problems paying, how do you go about that?
So if there was open communication beforehand and telling me beforehand, listen, I'm only going to be able to pay then of course we can develop a plan or a payment plan that you can pay it off month to month. But if it wasn't communicated to me and I send the invoice, then obviously there's a problem. So I must say, I haven't ever really struggled with people not paying on time. Sometimes it does happen and they honestly just forget. So then you just ask them and say, listen, sorry, we sent this invoice. Payment is required before the 1st. Will you be able to pay? And then they're like, oh, yes, sorry. And then they pay. So I know it is a problem, but I haven't really had experience with that problem because I try to keep the communication open as far as possible.
Yeah, as far as possible. Like if they have a problem, they feel free to tell you if
Yes,
something.
yes. Yes, and I always want to help them. So if they say or they see that the payment's going to be, let's say, 3,000 rand, and they can only pay 1,000 rand a month, of course you understand it, and you divide it by 3 months, and they can do like a down payment.
So
Then thereafter you can send the medical statement. So what you can't do is send the medical statement beforehand. They have to pay you in full first, then you can send their medical statement.
statement that they can get it back from like Discovery or their medical aid. I think.
Yes.
Okay. And then technology-wise, have you considered using technology such as virtual consultants or online exercise sessions with your clients to expand your biokineticist like services and maybe to reach patients abroad? Have you like considered that?
Yes, it is always a very good idea. It helps patients. I've also seen that, especially, I wouldn't say elderly, but close to elderly patients, they are more comfortable in their own homes and in their own environments. So it's very nice to see them in an online or a virtual session, and where they can openly ask you questions. They're in the comfort of their own home. It's not untimely. You spare on fuel costs and traveling costs and everything like that. And an online or a virtual session is usually a little bit cheaper as well. So people who struggle financially, you can always do an online session with them. So yes, I absolutely use it in practice, definitely.
I presume it's also more like effectively time-wise because you save time to get to the place for them to get to you, set up that specific time. Is the sessions normally longer or shorter when it's online?
It's still about between 45 minutes and an hour for a session. You just need to communicate to your patient that you obviously can't do any hands-on treatment with them. So you can only communicate how to do the exercise. I can't feel the muscle activating, or so it may not be as effective as it is in person, but you can still guide them as much as you can, as long as your communication to the client is clear, and their feedback to you is clear as well.
But it's also probably nice to work with more experienced people, like I would say like athletes who know their body so they can tell you, I can feel like my glutes are working in this exercise or I can't feel them. Then you can give
Yes.
them tips based on what they can tell you.
Yes, so working with a person that knows their body and knows where it activates and doesn't, it's obviously easier. It's a lot better to communicate with them. But unfortunately, the reality is most of your clients are probably going to be sedentary people, normal working environment people that don't know how to do it. So you need to make sure, as a biokineticist, you can communicate with them and lead them through the way of teaching them how to activate a certain muscle. So
Cool.
yeah, you really need to know your anatomy. You need to know your activations, where to fire, what movement to do to fire a specific muscle.
Muscle. Oh wow, yeah. And then How do you think virtual services could benefit patients who are unable? Okay, well, you actually answered this question already. How do you think virtual services could benefit patients who are unable to attend sessions in person, including those who live abroad?
Yeah, so when they live abroad, or I just give them professional guidance through the virtual sessions or the online sessions, regardless of their locations. And as I said earlier, a lot of patients do feel more comfortable when they are in their own environment and doing an online session.
Okay, and then how do you plan and organize your patient sessions to ensure that each patient receives an individualized program that suits their needs?
Okay, so that's the most important thing of your initial assessment and consultation. So you would ask them all the questions that you need to know, do all the manual testing, everything that you want to. From that, you do like a map. So you plan, you see, you get what their goals are, and you put that at the end, and here's the beginning, and you plan and strategize on how to get there. So that's the timeline of the rehabilitation, the extent of the rehabilitation, the intensity of what the client needs and wants, and how you're going to get there. So yes, that initial assessment is everything in that sense. So that can allow me to customize and individualize a program and a rehabilitation timeline for the client to their specific need.
Are the initial sessions normally longer than a follow-up session, or is it
Yes.
more or less?
Yes, so your initial consultation is also a little bit more expensive, but it takes about, I would say, between an hour and 2 hours, because you need to really get to the problem area. So you need to do testing, not just of the injured site of why it's injured. So you need to test for imbalances, you need to do postural assessments, you need to ask them questions about their medications, their general health, their mental health. So it is it does take a lot more time, but it is very necessary.
Okay, and then how do you manage a busy practice schedule to ensure that all the patients are accommodated efficiently? Like, how do you make sure each patient gets a session? Like, what if I can't book a session for Wednesday because you're fully booked?
Okay, so as you get to know your clients, especially in the initial phase, you communicate and ask them, are there specific times? Because a lot of people work, they can only see you before work, in lunchtime, or after work. And on specific days that they prefer, or they can or cannot. So people who have specific times, I always book them first. So I would slot them in their specific slots, make sure that they get a slot. And then you're more flexible to clients that really doesn't follow a timeline. I would fill in the rest of the slots with that. So you need to do precise scheduling. You need to know your clients. You need to know when and where they are, what their working environment is, and how you can work around that to schedule your appointments.
Yeah, do you leave some time open in between sessions for yourself? Like, do you book one up to 11:30 and then start the next session quarter to 12, or do you start 12:30 with your next one?
Yeah, so that depends on the time of day. So usually in mornings, when you are still fresh, then and you are at a location, let's say your practice, so you're not at somebody's home, then I would book clients on top of each other. So I know the session is going to take an hour. I'm very precise with that. So I would book a session for 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Then as soon as the next patient comes in, I know I need to take care of this one and end this session with the first client. So as the day progresses, especially after lunchtime, you do tire, you get you get tired. So then I would usually put in like a 15-minute break, especially if you know you're going to do a 45-minute session. That works well. So I would put that later in the day. So I would do book, let's say, from 1 p.m. to 1:45 p.m. and only book my next client at 2 p.m. just to give myself a little bit of a 15-minute break in between.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then, are there specific professional regulations or ethical guidelines or healthcare policies that you must follow as a practicing biokineticist?
Yes. So in South Africa, we need to be a part of a few regulating bodies, which the leading one is the Health Professions Council of South Africa. You need to comply with their rules and regulations. We belong to a group called BASA. It's the Biokinetics Association of South Africa. So you have to be with their regulations as well. We have to follow the Occupational Health and Safety Act regulations, the POPI Act regulations, client confidentiality regulations, and then also if you run an independent practice like myself, you need to be with a board called PCNS. That's your practice code numbering systems. So you need to register a practice, so to get a practice code. They are a part of BHF, which is your Board of Health Funders in South Africa. So we need to belong to them as well. So unfortunately, that means every year you need to pay these people to be a part of their boards, but you must. There's not an option. Yes, so you have to comply to their rules and regulations.
Yeah, there is. And then, what professional registration or requirements are necessary to practice as a biokineticist, and what consequences could arise if these requirements are not maintained?
So if you don't maintain these bodies that I just mentioned, you can be suspended. You can lose your license to practice. So then if you continue practicing, it would be illegal. So then you would be an illegal practitioner and actually cannot bill your clients and patients through medical aids and anything like that. So even though you have your qualification, if you are not registered at the specific boards of South Africa, it would be illegal to practice.
How long would your license then be? What do you call it?
Suspended.
Suspended for? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Basically, I think it would be usually up until the problem is resolved. So let's say you didn't pay your HPCSA fees for the year and they suspend your license because of it. They are obviously going to bill you and going to fine you. And as soon as you pay the fine and pay your registration for the year, they would reinstate you. So you just need to make sure that your compliance and billing with that regulation is on par. But there are other situations. So let's say there's a malpractice situation or an ethical issue. There are some cases that you can be suspended forever. So if you are a fraudulent practitioner or malpracticing or against ethical guidelines, I'm sure there is cases where they can suspend you on a not a temporary level. Yeah.
Permanently suspend you.
Yeah.
Okay, and then have factors such as inflation or patient financial circumstances affected patients' attendance or the demand of your services?
Yes, of course. So like we are in a fuel crisis now, so fuel costs are very expensive. People, that means food is more expensive, living cost is more expensive. So it creates an economical crisis. So in times like this, your client base declines drastically because people automatically set themselves aside, set their health aside, and just trying to get through financially through the month. So yes, it affects our client base a lot.
Have you found that family members or referrals from existing patients contribute to the attracting new patients to your practice?
Yes, word of mouth is absolutely your best way to go. That's why it's so important to have a good reputation. So word of mouth can go both directions. So if if you didn't do a good job, if you did malpractice, if you did fraudulent billing or overbilling, doesn't matter what the case, it's gonna get told to somebody else. So you
Yeah.
need to make sure that you are within the guidelines, that you have a good reputation, that you do good work and really care about your patients, because it is going to spread. And if you have a good reputation, it will spread like a wildfire. So yes, that contributes to my practice immensely.
Okay. And then the last question, do factors such as family financial circumstances or affordability influence your structure? Or how do you structure your service or pricings for those patients who
Um,
can't really?
Yes, so I will always, it's just my inner code, I could say it like that. I will always try to help the client first. It's my business comes second. So obviously you are running a business, you need to make money, but the change you can make in a person's life is more important. So I would always try and find the way, even sometimes if they offer a service and they can help me with that and I can help them with this. So if they really don't have the financials to do it, we would always find a way and structure out a plan, or we would create a payment plan for them, cheaper sessions, shorter sessions, online sessions, or I would structure it in a group class with friends or family of theirs where they can all pay together for one session. So that would also make the session a little bit more cheap for them and affordable for them. Yeah, as long as we can find the way, keep the communication open, we will find a way to help that patient.
So you come to like an agreement, like do you book then one session? Or how much do you charge for a group session? Would you charge more normally or the same?
So I bill per hour. So that makes it very nice for a group session. So especially in a situation like this. So if you're not formally giving a Pilates class or anything like that, that's a whole different situation. But in circumstances like this, get a friend, get a family member, get a few of them together. My hourly billing is 600 Rand. So split the cost between you 4 or 5 people. So as long as the hourly billing, so it's not going to be more time consuming for me. So I can't in my right mind charge more just because there are more people, especially if there is financial difficulty around it.
Okay, I see. And thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it and I learned a lot. And yeah, thank you so much. Enjoy your day further.
Thank you, Nika. It was so nice. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Hoe eindigt die meeting weg?
Ek dink hy rekordeer steeds.
Ek dink dit super. Klik nie aan hold. Aha, ek het hom. Dankie my Dinene.
Dis hier Nixie.